After building and beating up 4x4s for the last 16 years, I want to do something crazy and take a stock truck, put it through its paces, and really see what it's made of. Before I begin to modify my 2021 Toyota Tacoma, I'm going to drive it 1,500 miles from my house, I'm going to put it on rocks, and I'm going to see how reliable it really is. This little challenge is going to be an absolute blast. The first leg of my journey starts in Los Lagos, Tecate, Mexico. I had to travel there from Tacoma, Washington, which is 1,290 miles. I met up with some friends so we could do a tour from a company called Camp 4 Low. They guide expeditions like this through Mexico all the time, and to me it was the safest way in order to go to Mexico for the first time and know that I'm not going to get lost in the desert. Today we're going to take this bone stock Toyota Tacoma over some big rocks in Baja, Mexico. We're doing a trail called the Baja Rubicon. It's a brand new trail. We're like the first team, I guess, of people that are going to be on it. We've got 12 rigs, a whole bunch of personalities. It is going to be outstanding. After eating some breakfast and having a quick driver's meeting, it was time to venture out from our cabins and head to our first off-road destination. This took us over a gorgeous and windy road on the Rumarosa grade. Our guide told us that this is one of the more dangerous roads in North America, and semi-trucks roll over and have problems all the time. Mexican culture is full of a lot of what we in the United States would call superstitions, and rumor has it that this road is haunted because of the number of fatalities that happen here.
Alright guys, this is probably the most dangerous highway in North America, at least in Baja. Keep on your toes. It's sketchy. It's also as beautiful as it gets, so enjoy it.
After getting a couple days worth of fuel and some beer, we headed over to Laguna Salada, which is where we aired down and finally got to go off-road. My friend Chris from Off-Road Field Trip helped to navigate us through all the private ranches and into the land that they are now calling the Baja Rubicon. Just like in the United States, navigating through private property is really tricky, and luckily our private guides had gone through ahead of time and got permission to pass through the ranches and onto this trail. After a couple hours of trails in the desert, we reached our first major obstacle, and this is exactly what I brought the truck for. This obstacle was optional, but I wanted to make sure that I pushed this truck as hard as I could and see what it's made of.
Oh yeah, for the Toyota, that's going to be a tough one. And I'll winch over whatever I can't make it over. I'm here to party.
You spent the money on the winch for something.
Absolutely.
We made it to the first little rock crawl, which is optional. I'm going to opt in because I want to see what this Toyota is made of. I'll probably play with the traction, or crawl control a little bit and see how we do. This looks like it's going to be a fun little one. Definitely at the end I'm going to be stacking rocks, but whatever. Rubbing is racing. Unfortunately, Chris sheared his front drive shaft on this first obstacle, and many of us know the feeling. It's definitely not very fun. But after he cleared his Jeep out of the way, people started to line up, funnel in, and give this optional line a shot.
That's good. Hold that line. Got it. See what you're going to do. Come up on the right. Make it turn driver. Turn driver. Yep. Good. Come on out. Good. Come up. Stay driver. Passenger. Sorry, stay passenger. You ready to drive it? Drive it like that.
Well, this is going to get interesting. This is definitely slippery rocks. It's quicksand. It's going to be hard to keep my footing, but whatever. We're going to go try it. This is why I came here, is to try and push this Toyota and just see what it's made of. If you watched the last couple off-road videos that I've done on this Toyota Tacoma, you know that I was really surprised at how well this did in the snow. Unfortunately, this did exactly as well as I expected it to do in the rocks. Traction control can only do so much, and I myself am not the biggest fan of the traction control in the Toyota. I think that Land Rover has a much better traction control system, but once again, that's just my personal experience. I think that in either case, Land Rover, Toyota, no matter who it is, if you want to do rocks and you want to do slippery rocks like what we're doing today, you need a front locker. I think that even though this Toyota has a ton of shortcomings when it comes to rock performance, like independent front suspension, it still has the sway bar connected, and it only has a 30.5-inch tall tire, I believe that if I had a front locker, I would have been able to make it up this without a winch. Either way, I think this is the perfect test to show what the weaknesses are in this bone stock Toyota and give us an idea of what needs to be improved whenever we go to build this thing.
Still good as new. I could drive it home like this.
Did you hit that Toyota button?
I hit the Toyota button and it just flew right up.
The Toyota did pretty good, I'd say, in stock form. Of course, I did end up with a little bit of body damage. Not the end of the world. I will B-roll that over here so you can see. I hit the body. I would have been fine with the bed, but I'm fine with the front fender. But it's all good. It means you guys get to see a little bit of body work at some point in the near future. But for now, I'm just gonna keep having fun and we're gonna keep pushing this truck.
Let's go, driver. Driver hard, driver hard. There you go. That's it. Yeah. Well, yours hung up on your That's good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
After pulling cable for a couple of folks and getting everybody back together, we were able to regroup and head towards camp. And the scenery and overall beauty of this trail did not disappoint.
Well, life has nearly killed me, and my mind has put me on the edge. Life has nearly killed me, and my mind has put me on the edge. Though I can barely crawl, I've got to walk where these angels' feet are tread. Darkness nearly drowned me. Sunlight alone, don't it burn my eyes? Darkness nearly drowned me, and the sunlight, Lord, don't it burn my eyes? This valley is much too deep, and this mountain so very high.
We had a great day on the trail, and we woke up to perfect conditions. It was an amazing sunrise. It was time for some breakfast, so I decided to grab Chris and have him explain what the next step is. Good morning. We've got quite the festivities planned today. I'm going to hand it over to my friend Chris to explain what we're doing.
Well, we're gonna eat some burritos, then we're gonna pack up camp, and at right around 9 o'clock head back out the canyon because we can't go through. We're gonna head south and then head west over the El Mano Pass down to the highway, and then up to an hour on the highway towards Ensenada to Horsepower Ranch, where we have a steak dinner waiting for us, and a bed and a shower.
That sounds about as rad as it gets.
It does. And then Monday, we have another piece of private property that has a lot of easy and a couple of offshoots that are as hard as anybody wants them to be.
Beautiful.
That'll be a nice way to finish the trip, you know, to choose your own adventure at that point.
We have a giant day ahead of us. We have 53 off-road miles to get through. Then we're going to have to fuel up at the first place we see and try to make it to Horsepower Ranch by sundown. Mexico is a beautiful place, but everyone knows you don't want to be out after dark, especially with a group of very expensive and well-built rigs. For me, this challenge was really just another opportunity. I have a bone stock Toyota Tacoma that says off-road right on the bed, and I want to see how good is it off-road. Not on hard obstacles, not on hard trails, but just a long day of rocky dirt roads trying to keep up with well-built vehicles. You're going to notice in today's footage that I spend a lot of time trying to play catch up with the rest of the group. And even though it may look like it, I'm not leading the group at any time. I'm about somewhere in the middle, but even though this truck has independent front suspension and is brand new and is marketed as being an off-road truck, it is very uncomfortable off-road on dirt roads. I'm running about 12 psi on all 4 tires, which really helps, but at the end of the day, the front control arms are very short travel and the rear suspension is leaf springs. This doesn't hinder the capability of the truck, it just makes it to where if you want to go fast, you're going to start bouncing a lot and it's very uncomfortable. What's funny is that every road looks smooth when it's being looked at through a drone or through a really good action camera, but this truck was bouncing me all over the place. We just made it to a stretch of road that was on the Baja 1000 last year, which is pretty cool. So we're actually driving on the course right now. It's it's a bunch of whoops, it's a bunch of potholes. If you're in a really built rig, I bet you could go, ooh, holy cow, 100 miles an hour or so through this. But when you're in a stock Toyota Tacoma, we're going about 25, and it's pretty bumpy. But either way, it's really fun, and it's cool to be able to drive on a piece of Baja history.
Well, what's the word, Chris? What's for lunch?
I'm making peanut butter and jelly.
Pan blanco, grande,
Yes.
large white bread.
Correct. Large loaf.
Nice.
But there's only one way to make peanut butter and jelly, and I really hope your subscribers are interested in this because that's what they're about to get.
So what does the rest of the day look like?
Those mountains in front of us, we got to get to the other side of them.
Gotcha.
We are 2 or 3 hours from Heroes, which is where we hit the highway, and then from there it's another hour or so on the highway to get where we're going.
To get to Horsepower Ranch?
Yep, so we have time to do this. We'll have time to get fuel. It's all going to work out okay. Yeah.
Then we'll be booking.
There are some more difficult things down at Heroes that, as long as we got time, we'll send people up.
Distances between the trucks in our group grew greater and greater as the day went on. Where I come from, this is something that you don't allow to happen on a big trip like this, and it definitely made me pretty uncomfortable. But the people leading us seemed completely fine with it, so who was I to tell them any different? Between the fact that I had to drive this Tacoma really slow and then people behind me started to run low on fuel, this became the worst example of an off-road slinky I had ever seen. As we worked our way over the mountains, the group behind me started to catch up, and as we worked our way into private ranches, the group in front of me slowed down so we were all able to group back up into one cohesive unit. This timed out well because a lot of the vehicles in our group were running low on fuel, so people started to share jerry cans in order to limp it to the gas station. Honestly, this is the category that probably impressed me the most about this truck off-road, is that everyone else was running out of fuel and I still had half a tank. Clearly when I build this truck and it's on 35s and then eventually on 37s, it won't get the same kind of fuel economy, but it was definitely nice to not have to worry about fuel ever on this entire trip. This is the first time I had ever seen a gas station store its fuel in gallon milk containers, and they didn't have a whole lot on hand, so I didn't get any because I didn't need any, and the people in our party that really needed it got just the bare minimum so we could get about 35-40 miles down the road to the next gas station. After the locals did some donuts for us to show off a little bit, it was back on the road so we could get to the next gas station and make it to Horsepower Ranch before dark.
How's the drive?
Yes, it was.
Oh, we're here. I like food.
After getting a little bit of food and relaxing for a few minutes, the real work begins for me, and that is downloading all my footage and starting the edit of videos like this one. And that brings me to today's sponsor. Whether you only use your internet at your house or you're like me and you like to travel, having online security is important to all of us. Private Internet Access is a company that allows you to use their VPN service to mask your IP address from anywhere in the world. Whether you're buying things online, you're just checking your email, or you're like me and you need to upload a video to YouTube, this service can benefit all of us, because if someone can get a hold of this sensitive information, it can affect our private lives, our public lives, or even our job. I'm at Horsepower Ranch. Everyone else is asleep, and this is what happens every night. I download all of my stuff onto my computer, and then I start editing, and sometimes I need to access stuff on the internet, and right now I'm logged into public Wi-Fi in Mexico. What better time to talk about internet security? So there's a whole lot to cover on internet security, and I am no expert, so I recommend you do your homework and look up what a VPN is, what it does, what it doesn't do. There's a bunch of hidden benefits to having a VPN besides just security. And while you're out there shopping around, make sure you check out Private Internet Access. Now, I need to get this edited, and I will see you guys in the morning. Today is the third and final day of our trip in Baja. We're going to start by traveling from Horsepower Ranch to a small town called Ojos Negros. In this small town, we're meeting up with a ranch owner, and he's going to let us wheel through his private 8,000-acre ranch.
It is time here in Baja.
We just left Horsepower Ranch. This is going to be our last day in Mexico. I'm not going to be pushing the Toyota as hard today, but we're still going to go off-road. We're still going to have fun. The trail that we're doing today has a bunch of really difficult optional sections, so I'm going to get some great footage of some of these other guys going up some of these bigger lines, because we have some really well-built rigs here, and I definitely want to capture that on camera. But the goal today is to keep our rigs together so we can make it through Tijuana tonight, because apparently you do not want to cross Tijuana at night. It's a little bit dangerous, so it'll be an interesting day, and I look forward to seeing what we get into. The owner of this property used to ranch cattle, but then found gold on his property. He invited us up on his deck to show us some of the rocks and minerals that he had found, and we invited him to come out with us on the trails and be among the first group of people to put tires on these rocks.
got no gears?
I got nothing. My transfer case is toast. Why don't you guys get me started, and then I'll back out of here and head home. Somebody can help me get this thing into high 2.
Just go ahead. I will hang back for a second.
Don, can you go to the left around him?
After one of our guys crawled underneath and took a look, it looked like his transfer case linkage had separated. Apparently this is a common problem in JK, so a lot of guys actually had the spare parts, tools, and know-how to just fix it right there on the trail. Once we got them put back together, it wasn't very far until we hit the rock section we were looking for.
Clearance here.
Yeah, we can't. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna back it down and get to the other line.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I'm on my way to the back of the pack. I guess we have a flat tire back here, so I'm heading back to see if I can help in any way.
It's like a Lego set over here. Well, what's the story? I heard a rumor. A lot of love going on back here. We're just bonding. Oh, did you already change it out? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good. At least
we had a fire log just in case we were here all night.
Dude, you were helping everybody today.
This is my job.
Is this your job?
100%.
Look at that tool bag. It looks like your job.
My boss would be disappointed
If you weren't out here helping
if
everybody.
I wasn't helping everybody.
Martin with Milestar Tires was kind enough to give me a ride back up to the pack. And in the meantime, we were able to have some fun in his LJ on all these rocks. Martin is a really good spotter, really good driver, and when you pair that up with a vehicle built as well as this one, a trail like this was no problem. If I was going to compare this trail to somewhere in the States, I would say that it's equivalent to Turkey Claw at Johnson Valley. It's not very long and it's not very difficult, but it's a fun trail and there's definitely smiles all the way around. Even though we are already most of the way through this trail, there's still one more issue we're going to have to deal with.
No way.
Damn it.
Oh, driver.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see driver's busted.
This poor guy broke 2 axle shafts on this trip, but luckily he brought 2 spare axle shafts, so it actually wasn't that big of a deal. And since we only had another couple hundred feet of trail left, we decided not to repair it. Martin was helpful once again, and we used him as an anchor point to winch over this obstacle, and then he just kind of slowly gave him a tug whenever he needed it to finish up the trail. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. These are so hard to shoot, but luckily I'm gonna be able to splice some footage from other people who are gonna volunteer it for me, so I hope it all turns out. This was an epic experience. This is private land, you can't just come here, and if you wanna come and have an adventure like this, these 3 guys are the ones who made this happen. We've got Chris, we've got Justin, we've got Matt. And Matt, if people want to follow you and they want to come and do a trip like this, what do they do?
CampForlow.com.
CampForlow.com. And it's at Camp Forlow,
Camp Forlow,
right? Then Chris, what are you up to?
Well, I'm still Instagramming. I'm about to start a YouTube channel. It's Off-Road Field Trip.
Off-Road Field Trip.
Off-Road_Field Trip on Instagram. And of course, TRLJP on Instagram is my Jeep.
Perfect. So you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that I was involved in Trail to SEMA, and that was all put on by this guy. He's got a lot of very cool things up his sleeve, so I would definitely recommend going and giving him a follow if you want to see what kind of things he's up to. And then we've got Justin here. Justin, how do people get a hold of you?
On Instagram under Baja Rubicon.
Baja Rubicon.
If you want to have fun, you want to go rock crawling, and you want to do it in Baja, let's go.
And
Heck yeah.
everything you're going to see on this video is just the beginning.
Yep.
This guy's been scouting big stuff. Like
lot of stuff
real
to
big,
come. Yep.
real big.
Heck yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you want to continue to watch videos like this, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, all the stuff you're supposed to do to your favorite YouTubers. If you help support The Dirt Lifestyle, you can go to thedirtlifestyle.com. T-shirts, hats, flies, all kinds of other stuff. And if you don't follow me on social media, I'm at Dirt Lifestyle Nate. We'll see you next time.